Hello, my name is Johnny Rice, and I teach cello as well as piano here at the Hammer Strings Conservatory, located in Gilbert, Arizona. Today, I wanted to talk about proper posture when we are learning the cello, especially for beginners. Posture is really important for the first year or two of lessons, especially. If you have good posture and good technique like that, it is much easier to play. We can play with more accuracy, and in the long run, it also helps minimize the chance of injuries. So the first aspect of posture is how do we sit? So when we are sitting to play the cello, you want to sit forward on the front edge of your chair, not back like this. Definitely not leaned back into a back of a chair. It can actually be a really good idea to practice on a piano bench or something like this, or some other chair that doesn't have a back to remove that temptation. So sitting forward on the front of the chair, you want both feet flat on the ground, knees over your feet. The cello will rest between the knees. The back of the cello goes middle of the chest, kind of sternum area. And this peg, the C peg, will go approximately behind your left ear. Now every time you play on a different chair with a different height, you have to kind of readjust things. How far away do you place the in pin, or how close, and how long do you make the in pin? It takes time to become experienced enough to be able to do that, but if you look for those landmarks between the knees, sternum, earlobe, you'll be in the right ballpark. For the bow arm, you want the right elbow to be a little bit elevated, not like this, and definitely not like this. And we want the arm to be relatively straight. From my knuckles through my wrist to my elbow is a fairly straight line. That's what we're looking for, not bent up and not bent down. That gives us the best range of motion. For the left elbow, it's a similar thing. I think the left elbow is probably the one most students find the most difficult. We also want the elbow to be slightly elevated. We don't see very often students doing this because that's really uncomfortable. Usually what happens is the elbow sags down towards the rib cage. This does a few things. It bends my wrist at an angle like this, which makes it much harder to press the strings with enough strength, and also makes it harder to reach out far enough to reach the pitches correctly. So again, a fairly straight line from elbow through the wrist to the knuckles, not bent up or down, not bent sideways. A good way to check if your left elbow is high enough is to do this. As we become more advanced on the cello, we play up at the far edge of the fingerboard. This is called thumb position. And if your elbow is too low, when you try to go there, you get stuck and you can't reach further. If your elbow is in the proper position, you can reach without much effort. So even from a fairly young age or early on in the lessons, I recommend to my students to do this a few times a day just to check if that elbow is in the right position. So, to review, front of the chair, feet flat on the ground, knees, sternum, ear, and both elbows slightly elevated. This gives us the best foundation for being able to play the cello. I hope you've enjoyed these tips, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time here at Hammer and Strings.